This year marks a historic year for golf. The oldest major championship is turning 150, the Open. It is not long now until we will know who the champion golfer of the year is, and they'll be lifting the claret jug right behind me. In the 150 years of the Open Championship, golf has changed a lot. From the equipment we use, to the layout of the golf courses, to what we actually wear on the golf course. In this series, I'm going to be learning all about the 150th and also what they wore the first ever Open Championship, even testing out what it's like to wear that clothing, to what we could possibly see the players wearing at the 150th. First stop on this trip to find out loads more about the Open and the history of golf clothing is at the World Golf Museum, and I am joined by the woman in the know. I've heard you know everything there is to know about the Open and golf clothing. Hannah Fleming, thanks for having us.
You're welcome, Rachel. Thanks, that's a big build-up.
Of course, but I know I've got to big you up because I've heard some amazing things.
In this section here, we move into looking at the development of clubs and societies, and so built up in that is what people wore on the course.
Yeah.
And we're lucky enough to have some costumes that are on loan from the Women Golfers Museum, which I think as a woman you can understand the importance of fashion and what you wear on the course. This is from 1894, this outfit, and it is from Mabel Stringer, who was part of the Ladies Golf Union, and she was also the first female golf journalist, which is quite interesting.
That's really cool.
And how formal their outfits were, both on and off the course. She's wearing the red kind of jacket there and long woolen skirt, and women would write about how to control their skirts.
That was going to be one of my questions, because obviously when I was trying to find facts and imagery for this video, obviously women were wearing these long skirts, and I was like, how does that work? Because it's not exactly flat cam on a golf course.
I know. This was a big issue, and you know, something that as a modern person you maybe don't think about is modesty on the course. And for women at that era, in the early 1880s and 1890s, at the formation of the LGU, when there were people writing about what was appropriate for women, they would wire their skirts often at the bottom, and the thickness of the wool material that they used also helped to weight the skirt, but they would wire it at the bottom. The very early women's outfits, say the Ladies Putting Club here in St Andrews, they were the first women's golf club in the world in 1867 to be formed, and when you look at what they were wearing, it was even more restrictive, with corsets and long dresses, and as was the fashion for the Victorian women. But again, they worked with corsets every day, and so it wasn't as restrictive as we might think ourselves. If we were suddenly to put on an outfit like that, it would feel so alien to us. But for women of that status in society and also on the golf course, that was just what they were expected to wear and what was fashionable. But yes, to be able to swing a club was challenging, and part of the reason why women were started with putting, because it meant that they didn't have to swing their arms above their head. And as fashions loosen up, but women were always keen to take to the full course and have the full experience of golf. And you know what Tom Morris wore on the course is very different to what our modern champions will be wearing in July. Again, it's about the availability of clothing choices and the styles available for people within that status. for women, I think there was great strides from golfers, like Gloria Minoprio. We've got her trousers. Again, this is from the Women Golfers Museum collection. We have a full outfit of hers, which includes a navy sweater and these navy, quite closely cropped trousers, quite modern looking trousers. She wore them in the English Ladies Championship in 1933, and although women had been wearing trousers on and off the course, she was the first to do so in such a big event, and the Ladies Golf Union had to issue a statement apologising, I suppose, for the drop in standards of etiquette for women to be seen wearing trousers. However, when we look through the photograph albums of the Ladies Golf Union, you can see that from 1933 onwards, more competitors wearing trousers, and it was just took that one person to kind of push the boundaries a little bit and challenge what was acceptable, and actually more women took on the benefit of of wearing trousers. And I think because they are so unusual, they're so close to the body, it's that fear that women will start behaving differently by wearing trousers. But I think we all have to thank her for having that greater freedom of movement in our everyday dress as well.
I'm here at Prestwick, where I'm going to be learning all about the 150th, and I'm even going to be going out there to play the course where it all began. Definitely not driver in this hole, but I'm a little bit too stiff and I can't really swing properly in this jacket. Let's just try and keep it in play and not go over the wall. I mean, kind of ripped that. In my bid to learn all about the history of clothing and the history of the Open in the last 150 years, it was only fair that I actually tested out what it was like to play in clothing like this. Yes, I know women wore skirts, but I'm not really a skirt person. Like, I don't mind the old Adidas golf dress or skirt, but a long skirt, I think I draw the line there. I managed to hit the fairway in my first shot, so I'm quite happy with that because I was a little bit stiff, just, you know, first swing of the day straight out from the car park. But I'm just wondering, do we think that if old Tom had access to a rangefinder and the technology that we have today, he would have actually liked it? He would have actually used it? I don't think he would have. I think he was proper old school. And yeah, I think he would have paced out and known his yardages that way, opposed to using the technology we have today. Oh, left, get a nice kick. Got to go. Go. In this outfit, I'm obviously trying to find my inner old Tom Morris, but I don't exactly have the golf shoes to match. I'm not complaining about that because I looked at the golf shoes in the golf museum and they didn't look that comfy. We're told that women actually used to put nails through their shoes in order to get grip. Luckily we don't have to do that today, but I am wearing Stan Smiths, which are pretty modern. I don't know if old Tom would approve, but I feel like Willie Park would have. when we saw pictures of him at the museum, we saw that he was a little bit, I guess, flamboyant. He was a little bit out there with his clothing choices. He was the one that was, you know, instead of just plain tweed like old Tom, he would have been in like plaid and a bow tie, and yeah, I feel like he would have been very like forward in his fashion choices if he was playing golf today, and I think he would have absolutely ripped some Stan Smiths. Turn. I played a few holes in this get-up, and feedback, restrictive, difficult to hit in, but really, really warm, which in 1860 when they played the Open in October in Scotland, I'm pretty sure they would have needed all the layers and the warmth at that time of the year. But I think it's time to change, and I'm going to change into what I normally wear on the golf course whenever I'm playing around, and especially when I'm playing competitively. Every single time I come and visit Prestwick, you always have, I know we said it's not new, it's very, very old, but you always have something new to show me. So I'm super excited to talk to you today about the history of the Open, Ken. What have you got for me?
Well, let's start with why it's called the Open.
Okay.
The first event that was played in 1860 was almost an invitation event, because the members of the club, they would have their autumn medal, and a number of caddies would follow their gentlemen to come and caddy for them. Alan Robertson, who was the champion golfer of Scotland, had died the year before, and so the big question was, who's now the champion? Who's the best golfer?
Who's the best golfer? You have to know.
So clubs were told to send their best caddies, and they played in an event the day after the club's autumn medal. So it was 17th of October 1860. But only 8 golfers took part in that event, and they were all caddies. The following year, the night before the event was being played, the club committee agreed that henceforth the event should be open to all the world.
Okay.
And we actually have our minute book that shows that.
Okay, let's see it.
And there we are there.
Oh wow.
And it says, it was unanimously resolved that the challenge belt tomorrow and on all future occasions until it be otherwise resolved shall be open to all the world, and that otherwise the regulations remain the same. So we think that that is probably the origin of the
Why it's called the Open. Yeah. Well, that
it's
it
not
makes
the British
sense.
Open, it's
the Open. I always get annoyed with people when they say the British Open. Usually my American friends, but it is the Open.
But yeah, that's okay. I mean, I think we have a bit of fun correcting them.
Yeah, we do.
on that one, but totally get it when countries now have their own individual Open.
Yes, of
so,
course.
So, you know, they want to differentiate, but we all know it's the Open.
We all know it's the Open. No, it's so delicate in the handwriting, and it's the fact that the club has held on to this.
Yeah, no, we have all our minute books from the start of this book, 1851, which was when the club was formed, and that's the first minute book of the club.
Amazing, that's cool.